Talk to us about the state of Russian dis and misinformation and how it is being used as a weapon right now.
Well, I think one important thing to understand is that Russia has been spreading false information about Ukraine for years, and used some of that information as false justification to further invade the country during a war that has been going on for 8 years. And part of that meant distorting Ukrainian history, distorting Ukrainian culture and people. But on a more granular level, it also meant videos that purported to show something that they didn't actually show, and sort of faking the justification for the war.
So would you say that President Putin has been using this as a weapon to build up to this moment?
Absolutely. Disinformation is a huge weapon for the Russian government. We've seen it in 2014 during the annexation of Crimea, as well as during the occupation of eastern Ukraine. We saw it during the downing of MH17, and we see it now. And disinformation is a weapon that Putin has been using all around the world in an attempt to undermine democracy, which, of course, the US has felt intimately as well.
So how well do you think big tech platforms like Facebook and Twitter and TikTok are handling this now? We've seen some steps taken in the last couple of days. Certainly, it's not nearly enough, is my guess.
Right. From the tracking that we're doing about the disinformation that we see on social media, their steps have been good, but limited and scattershot. So there has been a ban on RT and Sputnik in Europe, for instance, but we don't see that same ban worldwide, which raises a series of questions like, why? RT and Sputnik, of course, have huge audiences outside of Europe, including in Southern and Northern America. We also see direct television providers attempt to thwart Russian disinformation. But again, Russians are very good, Russian disinformers particularly, are very good at getting around restrictions on social media. And as a matter of fact, they're very well practiced around that. This is also a war that spans social media platforms. It's not just about the big three that we're used to in North America. It's also about TikTok. It's also about Telegram. There's really no social media network that's untouched by this.
Can you talk to us about how everyday Ukrainians are navigating this? Do they see the difference between information and misinformation? How do they try to separate fact from fiction?
There's a gargantuan effort to essentially undermine Russian disinformation, either as it comes in or before it comes in. And there's a few different ways that both Ukrainians and outside groups are doing this. The Ukrainian television channel, Ukraine 24, which is a few different television channels that banded together to provide around-the-clock coverage of the war, are debunking disinformation in real time. There's also real information exchange happening between Ukrainians who are filming scenes from the war and are trying to figure out where was the most recent attack, how many was hurt, how many were hurt. And of course, we see an open source intelligence community, which essentially gathers digital breadcrumbs, put those breadcrumbs together for a fuller picture to essentially undermine Russian narratives. And so that is why the Ukrainian voices that we see online have been much more powerful than the Russian disinformation that we see online.
So, look, we're in the middle of a crisis, a war right now. What can we do in this moment? I know that you've pioneered a method that sort of swiftly and excessively debunks some of this stuff. How do we do that instantaneously?
You know, I think the main thing is to understand that this war is not going to be over tomorrow, and we will continue to see a big flood of videos and images from on the ground all the time, and we need to be prepared for that. One important thing to remember is that there are reporters who are risking their lives on the ground, both Ukrainian reporters and international reporters, to bring accurate information. I would also say that it's important to be particularly cautious of images and videos that don't have more than one angle because of how many images and videos exist of the different attacks. And decontextualized media, in particular, is something that has been very prevalent. And so I understand that it's an unsatisfying answer to say go to official news sources, but at the moment, an individual will really struggle with the idea of verifying a single video and whether it's accurate or not. Whereas newsrooms are extremely prepared for this and are putting out some of the best work they've ever done.